Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have my long-awaited freelancing video and this is part 1. So I'm going to warn you now, this might just be a really long video. Then again, all of my videos are long, so what's new? But I have a lot of information. I feel very stressed out right now because I want to tell you guys so much in such a little amount of time. So let me stop rambling about my intro and actually start getting started with the video. I started freelancing about 2 years ago. I do not have any professional experience. I never worked at a makeup counter or store. I am self-taught and I will do another video on that. How I learned, how I put myself out there, how I got my clients, all of that, like how I knew what to charge. I will do all of that in a different video. I love freelancing. It gives me a feeling that I cannot describe. I can be in such a bad mood and as soon as I finish freelancing, I am just in high spirits because it feels really good to make other people feel really good. Okay, I usually freelance from home, so a lot of my clients come to me and then occasionally I do go to them. Now when they come to me, I don't really have to pack anything because I have all of my makeup here at my disposal, but when I do pack myself to go, these are kind of the things that I just have like a checklist in my mind, like, okay Rose, you have this, you have that, you have this. So the first part of this video is going to be kind of like tools and things like that that I need in my kit, that if I don't have them I'm like stressing out because they're necessary and I have gone without them and trust me, it is not fun. The first few things are going to be pretty basic. They may seem pretty like self-explanatory to some of you, but for other people, they have no idea where to start. So I'll just give you kind of like a breakdown of the stuff that I have to have in my kit. Other than makeup, these are just must-haves. So the first thing is a spoolie, and not just one spoolie, but a couple of spoolies, depending on how many clients you're gonna be having. So if it's like a bridal party, you wanna bring a whole bunch just in case. But let's just say you're just gonna go do one person, you still wanna bring a couple of these guys. Now these are mascara spoolies. You can use them to brush out eyebrow hairs. You can use them to coat mascara on. For hygiene purposes, you wanna use a spoolie every single time, a clean, new spoolie every single time to apply mascara to their lashes, to mend their false lashes with their real lashes. So spoolies are a must. They sell these online on Amazon. They sell them in the beauty supply store. You can just look up mascara spoolie, but these are so important. If I don't have them, I kind of freak out, but I will show you something else that if you don't have one, what you can use. Going hand in hand with a mascara spoolie, I have to carry my lash glue. This is so important. I put on lashes on everyone. I don't think I've ever done a makeup application and not applied lashes. Like, they can be really simple baby lashes, like even smaller than demi wispies, but I always put on lashes, whether it's a sweet 16 or a 90th birthday. I love lashes. I always try to convince my client to go in the lash route because it just makes a difference, especially with pictures. So a good lash glue that I always bring with me is a Revlon lash adhesive. I usually bring about 2 or 3 bottles of lash adhesive just in case one dried out, one you can't find. So I always have lash glue in my kits. It is absolutely necessary. The next 2 tools also have a lot to do with lashes. One is a tiny little scissor, and this one is from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but I have a ton. You can find these in the beauty supply store, but these are kind of like eyebrow scissors, but I use them to cut my lash bands. 99% of the time I cut my lashes for my clients because unless they have a really long eye, you have to snip off the end. Now you always want to cut the lash on the ends and not on the inside because you want them to flare out. Even if I'm just cutting a little bit, it makes a huge difference. So I always carry a pair of scissors, or if they have really long eyebrows for some reason, or just like one hair sticking out, I'll ask them if I can cut it and it'll make a huge difference. So scissors are a must. And the next tool is also a must for me. I have 2 of these, one for me, one for my kit. I love this. This is a MAC lash applicator. Sephora also carries a lash applicator. I've tried it, but my favorite is this guy. And this one's from MAC. This is $20. It makes such a difference when applying lashes to yourself, to your clients. It makes it so much easier. Like, I swear by this tool. If I don't bring it, I kind of panic because I know how to apply lashes with my hands or with tweezers, but this just makes it so much faster for me and I don't want to waste too much time applying lashes. Now, a trick when applying lashes on someone else is to tell them to look all the way down to the floor while you're applying it. I never tell my clients to close their eyes when applying lashes because then you risk gluing their eye shut, which has happened to me. You don't glue it permanently, but sometimes they'll like open their eye and it's like stuck, and you don't want that because then the client kind of freaks out like, oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to see. So you want them just looking down and you apply the lash. I always grab the lash from the middle, apply the middle first, and then I'll stick on the end. So this makes a huge difference. I'm telling you, have your client look down to the floor, stand right in front of them, and just place it really gently. At first, I was very nervous when applying lashes. It's really nerve-wracking. You don't want to poke them. So having that lash applicator definitely makes it a lot less scary looking as opposed to a tweezer that's really, really pointy and can scare your client. The next two are sponges. I always have a beauty blender in my kit. Always, 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 always. I have to have at least like 3 beauty blenders in my kit. I will leave a link down below to where I purchased my beauty blenders a little cheaper online, and this is legit. It's a real beauty blender. I love the beauty blender, specifically this one, the black one, and I buy the pack of 6. Comes out cheaper that way, and I need the beauty blender. I always, always, always use a beauty blender on my clients. I wash them every single time, but using a beauty blender for foundation and for concealer is just the best way in my opinion, although today I did use the Artiste brush and I loved it. But anyway, love beauty blender, and I always, always have to have that in my kit. Like, you will not find me anywhere doing makeup without a beauty blender. I seriously freak out if I don't have it. It's just my thing. This next guy looks like a beauty blender, but it's actually the makeup bullet, and I love this when doing makeup on someone else because you can just like press on their face without using your fingers and you won't remove their makeup. So let's say I'm like lifting their eyebrow to do their eyeshadow. This kind of sponge, you could put a little bit of powder on it and then lift so you don't mess with their makeup, but also it's really great for packing on concealer and also powder underneath. I normally use this for powder, not really liquid, but you could use it for like foundation or to like really just have that sharp edge. I really love the fact that you could put your finger in here because you get a lot more precision, and I love this. Again, this is called the Makeup Bullet. Next item, definitely a must-have. It's this guy right over here, which is a metal mixing plate. I never know the name of this. This one is from Luxe Boxes, and it has like a little finger kind of holder, but I never use that. And I use this. I have another one here from Crown Brush. It's new. I have about 3 of these. I use this to mix my foundation on. I use this to apply like powder onto, mixing a liquid lipstick. Like, I use this a lot because it's so handy. I do use my hand, a clean hand obviously, for like gel eyeliners. I could warm up the product, and for my liquid lipstick sometimes, but this for foundation always. I don't like to just pour the foundation onto the beauty blender because I feel like you'll waste a lot of product. So usually what I'll do is I'll put some foundation, maybe another color if I want to mix it. You could use a spatula and then use the beauty blender straight from here, and it's just a lot cleaner that way. You disinfect that and it's just mess free. Baby wipes are a must in my kit. I always have some baby wipes, whether they're Huggies, any brand, could be store brand. I use this to kind of just wipe down the product off of the spatula or off my hand, and then I'll use alcohol or sanitizer on the plate after. But just to get the excess product off, you want to just use a wipe. Sometimes I'll even use this to clean up like the table. Like, it just really depends, but you'd be surprised how handy these come. So always carry some baby wipes in your kit. They're definitely a must-have in mine. This next guy is kind of excessive because it's huge, but it's a makeup brush cleaner, like a spot cleaner. This one's from Cinema Secrets. I absolutely love this. Basically what you do is you just apply some of this to like a tin, or you could just kind of like dip your brush, but I always apply it to a tin, and then you could just wipe your brush clean of any product that you have on it. So it's a spot cleaner. You don't have to add water, and they'll dry pretty much instantly. I will say that if you use this with like a white brush, be careful because it can kind of tint your brush blue for a little bit until you actually deep clean it. But if you're doing makeup on 8 people, let's say, and you don't really have that many brushes, this is gonna be so handy. In between clients, you just spot clean. You never want to use the same brush on someone else if you haven't spot cleaned it. 1, because of hygiene purposes, and 2, because there's product on there, so you're gonna just mix the colors up and it's not gonna look pretty. So definitely have a brush cleaner. You don't have to get that gigantic one. They even sell like a tiny bottle, like a spray bottle, or you could even buy your own spray bottle and pour that in. You could just save money by buying the large one, but you get the gist. You want to have a spot cleaner no matter what. This is the Beauty So Clean Cosmetic Sanitizer Mist. And this cleans and rejuvenates any like powders or any makeup. You can literally spray this directly onto your powder, onto your lipstick. I know a lot of makeup artists use the lipstick straight from the tube, and then people are like, oh my god, what are they doing? But they disinfect the lipstick after. So this definitely comes in handy because you want to disinfect everything. You want to disinfect your plate, your brushes, your makeup, especially if you're using your own makeup on your clients. But even if you're not, you still want to sanitize. I use my personal makeup on my clients sometimes, and this definitely comes in handy because I can sanitize it and I know that nothing's gonna happen. So I always sanitize my makeup as well as my brushes. Another tool that's really handy, some hair clips, a hair tie, any type of clip, anything like a headband. You want to pull their hair back so you don't get foundation on their hair. I really love these. These are from Sephora and they're just duck clips, but they hold hair really nicely. Sometimes my customers come in with their own clips, or sometimes they just have their hair already pulled back. But if they don't, you always want to have some clips, and also have some clips for yourself, because the last thing you want is hair in your face while you're trying to work. It's already getting hot and it's not cute. So you want to pull your hair back for sure. Hand sanitizer is definitely a must. I love these little pocket back ones from Bath & Body Works. You want to get an antibacterial hand soap. And this one is just in Beautiful Day. It's tiny. I can just throw it in my I actually have one of these attached to my makeup bag. And so you could just attach it so you never forget it. And I'll just throw it in my purse just in case. Another important tool for me is the Veramona Color Switch. And this basically is heaven sent for any makeup artist. Basically, you take your makeup brush that's dirty and you're using it in the crease with like black, and then you just swirl it in here, and you could use that same brush with like white or brown or pink or whatever color you want, and you can go ahead and use that same brush. So it's like an instant spot cleaner, but you still want to spot clean your brush with a liquid. This is only going to kind of make the brush clean, but not really. Like it wipes it, but it doesn't clean it. I hope that makes sense. Just basically something that's handy for someone who doesn't have a lot of brushes, or someone who has like one favorite brush that's so necessary. You can just like wipe it and use that same brush again on that same client. So I hope that makes sense. It just removes the eyeshadow color from the brush, but it doesn't deep clean it. But this is handy because I have some brushes that I really love, or even like a brow brush. If I'm using a brow brush with chocolate from Anastasia and I'm doing her brows, but then I want to dip into something lighter like taupe. I don't want to just go into taupe because it still has chocolate. So you basically just wipe it free from that chocolate color, and you can dip it into taupe and then go into the brow, and it's going to look flawless because you're not mixing the colors. So this is definitely handy, and you could get this at Sephora. This is just another version of the sanitizer. This is the Beauty So Clean like wipes, also disinfecting wipes. So you could just get this guy. I got these at Alcone, and you just wipe things clean. You disinfect with these wipies or with the spray, whatever works easier for you. And they're very handy and very important. The next tool is actually a gift from a subscriber that has come so in handy. I will leave her Instagram and her information down below. And it's this fan. And what I use this for is when I spray my clients with a setting spray, or when I'm doing their eyelashes and I'm waiting for the lash glue to dry, I will just fan them and it dries it so much faster. When I'm waiting for that setting spray to dry, it can seem like forever, especially when I have someone right after. So this just speeds up the process. Boom, boom, boom. I'm just fanning them. I can take my picture and we're done. And it feels really good for them. It feels really relaxing. So I love having this. Honestly, I didn't know how much I needed this. I was always just kind of like fanning them with my hand and it wouldn't go anywhere, and I would get really hot. So this has come so in handy. So thank you so much for sending me this. I love it. I have one for my kit and I have one for me, and I'm obsessed. Okay, now let's get into makeup. I'm going to talk about some products that I have to have in my kits briefly because I don't want this video to be too long. But don't fret, I will have another video talking more in depth of like my favorite foundations for my kit, my favorite eyeliners for my kit, like just a series, so that this video isn't extremely long. Like I'm not going to go in detail, but I kind of just want to do an overview of like some products that I always have in my kit. The first one is this Brow Pro palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm obsessed with this. I don't even know how I would do people's makeup without this. This is so important. This has every single brow shade that you will need ever. Now let's say you have a redhead client, you have the color here. Let's say you have a client with black hair, you have the brow color here. This has every brow color you need. You even get a brow primer, like a waxy kind of primer. I don't really use it, but you get shades from blonde all the way down to granite. So this is so important. Now it may seem a little pricey, but it's so worth it. Like I'm telling you, it's so worth it. I remember when I was starting off, I would use individual brow products and it was a mess. Now, don't get me wrong, I still use my Brow Wiz on some clients. I still use brow pomade. But if I could just make one recommendation, is to invest in this. This is so important. You can get it at Sephora and it's just really, really important. You need all types of brow colors and this is just the bomb.com. Like, you'll have every single color, and I'm telling you, it's the best investment I ever made in my kit because I don't have to carry 100 brow products. I'll bring this, I'll bring some pomades like the Inglot ones, and I'll bring like 1 or 2 Brow Wiz, and that's it. And my holy grail brush to use with this on all of my clients is the Anastasia No. 7 brush. I have about 4 of these and I cannot go without these two. Brows are so important. It's the first step that I do when doing someone's makeup. I always start with brows. And I always use this brush, No. 7. I just fill them in, I'll do the rest of the makeup, and then if I feel like they need a little Brow Wiz or some pomade, I'll go in with that. Or I'll just kind of darken things up or change the color with my Brow Pro palette. I love this. It's so, so important. Like, I'm telling you, it's so important. I can't stress that one enough. Foundation is kind of tricky because you have all different types of skin tones, all different types of skin types. So I always carry more than I need, because even if I know my client has dry skin, I will still bring some things for oily skin. Like, you just never know what's gonna happen. I always come over prepared. When I first started doing makeup, I was always under prepared because my budget, and I didn't really know the importance of bringing everything. But one foundation that I always have in my kit is a L'Oreal Pro Matte Infallible. I am obsessed with this foundation. All of my clients love it. Every time I use this, I get emails or texts like, oh my god, what foundation did you use? It looks so great. It stayed on, it was matte, and it's usually always a L'Oreal Pro Matte Infallible. Now, I do really love the LC foundation and the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation. I use all types of foundations on my clients. I really just kind of play around. I use Urban Decay Naked. I use Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. It really depends on the client and their skin and where they're going and their wants and how comfortable they are with makeup. Do they want full coverage? Do they want medium coverage? So that's kind of like, it depends. If the customer is going out and they're going to be out for a really long time, I can always depend on this foundation because the colors are great. I have all of the shades, I'm pretty sure, from 103 all the way to, I think it's like 112. This is just an awesome foundation. Try to get it when it's on sale, like buy one get one or 40% off. I always go to Rite Aid and I'm always stocking up on that foundation because it's just like my go-to. But again, I do use other foundations. I use other high-end foundations. I use low-end. Really just depends on what the customer wants. Don't just think that you can't use drugstore because of the price that you're charging, because that foundation looks 10 times more flawless than my Chanel foundation. So don't judge it because of the price. Trust me, I love me some high-end foundation, and that one really does me no wrong. Speaking of foundation, I wanted to mention this guy that has come so in handy. This is the Mayron Pro Foundation Palette, and you get 12 shades. I love this. This was like one of my favorite purchases from HauteLook ever. Basically, you get all of these foundations. You get a beautiful range of colors. They're pretty warm toned, but you can use this to contour. You can use this as foundation. You can use this to lighten foundation. Sometimes I'll like see someone's face and I'll start doing their makeup and I forget to ask them like, hey, can I see your chest or your neck? Or they have like a hoodie or something and I can't see like the rest of their body, and I'll go ahead and start doing foundation. I'm like, wait, let me just check your body, and it's like too light or too dark. This always saves the day. I'll just take my beauty blender, wet it again, and I'll just dab into whatever color. If I want to darken it, I'll go in for a darker color. I want to lighten it, go in for a lighter color. This comes so in handy. These are so blendable, pricey, but so blendable, so full coverage, and I love this. I use this to cream contour a lot. I use this as concealer if for some reason I forgot the concealer or something, but it's so in handy. I love that stuff and it's definitely worth it. Mayron specifically has products for makeup artists, but I think a lot of people can get a lot of use out of this. Like, even if I wasn't a makeup artist, I would still have this in my collection because year round you're gonna have your foundation, and I love it. It's just super full coverage. Can't go wrong with this one. Speaking of concealers, I want to talk about the Sephora Pantone Universe palette. Now, I never had a palette that had concealers and correctors in it, so this is heaven sent for any makeup artist and for anyone. But you get your correctors, you get your concealers. I love this stuff. I love the concept of palettes for freelancers because you have to carry less individuals and just more palettes, and that's literally how I pack my bag. I'm like, okay, do I have a concealer palette? Boom, put that in my kit. Do I have a blush palette? Boom, put that in my kit. Rather than carrying 8 individual concealers, you just carry one palette. It makes it less heavy, it makes it a lot easier, and you just have all types of options. So this is a really good option for someone who doesn't want to carry 100 concealers and 100 correctors and contour colors. This is just like an all-in-one product. If you're doing one client or if you're doing 10, you got them all covered in something like this. I always carry a contour kit with me, and this one has been my favorite. It's the LA Colors I Heart Makeup Contour Palette. I got this because of Alexis and because of Melina. I'll leave their YouTubes down below. I love them. This was $6.99 at Optima Beauty Supply Store, which is here in Queens. I will also list that down below. I'll list like my favorite stores to purchase like makeup freelancing stuff besides Sephora down in the description bar. Anyway, I went to Optima. I bought this $6.99. You can't go wrong with this palette. Lord, it is so good for anyone, not just a makeup artist. It's so blendable, so creamy. You get such good shades. I want to get the darker version of this. These creamy vanilla shades, amazing to set concealer. Just awesome. You don't have to bring bronzers because you get really nice warm tone colors, but you also get a nice cool tone color for contouring. So bringing bronzers and contour colors is a pain in the butt. I will tell you, it's a lot of products. I still will bring like one bronzer with me just in case this doesn't match, or maybe like one or two bronzers, like MAC Give Me Sun, and maybe like a really dark, deep bronzer, and you're good to go with this palette. $7, you can't go wrong. I'm telling you, you will love this, especially if you freelance. Going on this theme of palettes, next item, blush palette. Now this one's gigantic and I don't think it's available, but I just wanted to show you. This is the Tarte Big Blush Book, and you get so many blushes. You get light, you get peach, you get bronzer, you get all types of blushes here, shimmery, matte, and it's awesome because you have every type of blush you will need for any kind of look. So I love blush palettes. Urban Decay, Tarte, and Too Faced make blush palettes that I love, and I really, really love Tarte blushes. I love Too Faced blushes too, and Urban Decay, but I feel like Tarte and Too Faced have the most like long wearing blushes, which is really important when you're doing someone's makeup. You want it to last a really long time. This one I love because it's cushioned and I'm not scared that it's gonna break because it's not glass or anything. So I love this, and it's a blush palette, and it's so important to carry a blush palette rather than carrying, again, 9 blushes, because that's not convenient for your kit. I'm telling you, it gets really heavy when you're carrying 100 bazillion trillion blushes. So just save yourself the effort, save yourself the backache, and get yourself a blush palette. Setting powder is also a must for a kit. I love bringing the RCMA No Color Powder. I also use the Laura Mercier Translucent Powder. I use MAC Blot Powder, MAC Set Powder. I have tons of translucent powders, but this one's inexpensive and it's a really great option because it has no color. It does give you a little bit of like a white tint, a tiny bit, if you don't brush it off long enough or if you bake too long with this. So I recommend not baking with this, but it's still good to set their whole face rather than bringing 100 powders, because you know there's so many different skin tones. You get something translucent and you will save yourself a lot of effort. So definitely invest in a translucent powder. This one has been out of stock, so I just recommend maybe getting the Laura Mercier Translucent because that one is in stock, or the MAC one. So I'll leave other options down below because I know this one's always out of stock because all beauty bloggers started talking about it, especially Kathleen, and it went out of stock. But definitely carry a translucent powder. It's so handy. Setting the under eye, you have to set the under eye. So important to set the under eye, so you have to bring some translucent powder with you. This next product is kind of a given. Highlight. You have to bring a highlight with you, and again, try bringing a kit or a palette with you rather than bringing individual highlights. Becca makes a great one. This is the Becca Jaclyn Hill Shimmering Skin Perfector Champagne Glow palette, I guess, but you get 3 beautiful highlights. One that's perfect for fair skin, one that's perfect for like a medium, and then you can mix these two for deeper, darker skin, and you'll get like a gorgeous golden peachy glow. That one's really nice. Also the Anastasia Glow Kits. I have mine in that glow. You get a nice highlight for fair skin, for medium skin, for deeper skin. So glow kits, palettes, any highlighting palette is also really important. Everyone's skin tone is different, so bringing one highlight with you doesn't really make sense. So I always bring a couple of options. I bring something golden for my medium to deep skin. I bring something pinky for my fair skin. I bring something like buttery. I bring a lot of highlights because everyone's skin texture is also different. Sometimes you'll use a highlight on a client, and if they have really oily skin, for some reason it just doesn't show up. Or really dry skin, it's like the skin kind of eats the highlight up and you're just there like trying to add it. So I think layering in that situation is the best. So I would bring like 2 or 3 kits with me. If your budget allows for it, I would bring like 1 or 2 or 3 kits full of highlights, because you just never know what's gonna happen. You could use it, you know, to highlight the nose. You could also use these as eyeshadows, so it's kind of like a double win. Also, the Carly Bible palette is awesome because you get eyeshadows and highlights, so that's definitely awesome. And they're really nice, like wearable mauve-y, like pinky and neutral tones, which is what clients mainly want. You also want to bring like a colorful eyeshadow palette just in case they want like a pop of color. I never really run into that because my clients always want like glowy, glam, neutral looks, which I ain't complaining. I love that look. But it's good to have some palettes that have some color in it. With eyeshadows, it's kind of hard. I normally bring like 4 or 5 eyeshadow palettes with me just to have a really good range of colors and like textures, but I always bring this palette with me. This is my holy grail, personal favorite eyeshadow palette. These are all of my personal favorite shadows that I use on myself, but I bring them with me because eyeshadows are kind of hard to go through. Like, unless you really like that eyeshadow, you're probably not going to go through the whole thing. So I figure I could use them on myself, I could use them on my clients, why not? So I always bring Anastasia shadows, which are the first 2 rows. This row is MAC, and then the last row is Makeup Geek. So I like bringing single shadows because you really get to personalize your own palette rather than just like a pre-made palette. I say invest in single shadows. Morphe also makes great inexpensive shadows. They have pre-made palettes. You can make your own palette. So those are really awesome because they're like under $20. And you can get a couple and you'll have every single type of color. So when you're starting off, Morphe palettes is definitely the way to go. When I was starting off, they didn't really have that hype, and I was just like, what eyeshadows do I buy? Like, all these palettes are so expensive, and I get it. So go the Morphe route if you're starting off, or if you just like to play with color, or you just want to have more palettes. I do have a coupon code for 10% off Morphe. Almost all of the brushes that I use on my clients are Morphe, and you could get 10% off if you use the code Rosita. Now, brushes is a whole nother ball game because Lord knows I have so many brushes and I use so many on my clients. Like, I roughly use about like 20 brushes per person, I think, something like that. My biggest tip when packing a kit is to go through your full face of makeup and make sure you're bringing that. So if you start off with your brows, this is what you're gonna do. You're like, okay, what do I do when I do my makeup? Okay, brows. Do I have my brow stuff? Boom. Eyeshadow primer. Did I bring that? Did I bring my gel eyeliner? Did I bring the brush for my gel eyeliner? Did I bring the blush? Did I bring the blush brush? Like, go through your full face of makeup and make sure you're bringing that, and then bring some more, because you never know what's gonna happen. Everyone's eye shape is different. Everyone's nose is different. So you want to have an abundance of brushes. Some brushes won't work for nose contour, but it'll work on someone else. So it's just kind of like trial and error and seeing what works for you. Lashes are also really important. These lashes, these dodo lashes, are super inexpensive and they're like faux mink. And I really like them. These are really inexpensive, but they are amazing. They have really great styles. Usually like $5 lashes like this, they don't have amazing styles. Like, they look really plasticky or really cheap. These look like real hair, so that's really awesome. And I'll leave, again, a link down below for this. And I also have a coupon code. I think it's also Rosita. These are also really nice. These are from Alcone, and these are 300T. These are for someone who likes a more dramatic kind of eyelash, but I have all types of lashes in my kit. I bring all types because you just never know what they want. You just never know what their eye shape is, you know. Just bring a lot of lashes. I always carry demi wispies from Ardell with me. I carry Cocoa lashes like Goddess and Misha. Lashes really make or break the look. So I like to invest in lashes. I use all types of lashes. I use Huda lashes. I use Lily lashes. On my brides especially. I always use Iconic from House of Lashes. Like, lashes are, there's like a whole world of lashes, and I always say bring a lot. If you're on a budget, you definitely want to try Dodo lashes because they're really inexpensive, or Lady Moss Beauty, the Cocoa lashes. But the Dodo lashes are $5. You can't go wrong, and I have a coupon code, so you really can't go wrong. Foundations can be a little tricky, so I recommend getting some drops. This one is the Manic Panic Dream Tone Flawless Foundation Color Corrector in Virgin, which is the whitest white color. So this you can use to lighten a foundation, or you can use like custom cover drops from Cover FX. Like, you can get them in darker shades or lighter shades. Like, sometimes I go really extreme so that I can just deepen it up a little bit. Like, I'll just add 2 drops of the darkest Cover FX drop to a foundation just to deepen it. I never stress if I don't have the right foundation color, because you can manipulate foundation, whether using these types of drops or common mistake for me in the beginning was I would do someone's foundation, I would go way too dark. Or not way too dark, but just a little too dark. So I would just go really heavy-handed with the concealer, and I would conceal like all the way down to here. I'll put some concealer here, or I would use like a lighter powder. Or if I did the opposite, if I used a foundation that's way too light on them, I'll just go heavy on the bronzer. No matter which way, you can make it work, so don't stress. Like, do not stress. If you mess up a little bit, if you stress it, you're just gonna get worse and worse, and you're gonna make more mistakes. Just be calm and be over prepared. That is my biggest tip, is be over prepared. Now, I didn't really talk about like specific eyeshadows or like gel liner or like prepping the skin, because I prep the skin. That is one thing that I have learned. Prepping the skin is major key. You wanna use a moisturizer, you wanna use an eye cream, you wanna use a skin softener or a primer. Like, there's a lot, and like a fixing spray at the end. So I'll do another video on like how I prep my client's skin. Maybe I'll even have like a model and I'll demo it, because there are some products that are like super crucial, like the MAC softening lotion. I love that stuff. It's just a liquid that I apply all over the face before makeup. It's super gentle, it won't break you out, and it just makes the application a lot smoother. Also, like under eye cream, you cannot correct what someone hasn't been doing for years in one minute, but you can kind of make it better. So like, let's just say your client has never used an under eye cream and you're trying to do their makeup. It's gonna be dry under there, so you want to just put some under eye cream, like something that's really potent. If someone has oily skin, you want to use the correct primer. So like primers and things like that, like skin prep is so important, and it's a lot to cover. So I'll leave the skin prep for another video, but I hope this was helpful. Also, on my Instagram, when I do before and afters, like 8 times out of 10 I'll list the products that I use, so that's also really helpful. Like, you just want to bring everything. If you're going to do someone's makeup and you're going to them and you don't know what kind of look they want, you have to bring a red lipstick, you have to bring a neutral lipstick, you have to bring a pink. You just never know. Or you could just ask them beforehand, but they might change their mind. So you always just want to be over prepared rather than under prepared. That's my biggest tip. It's gonna cost a lot of money, but you have to invest in order to make money. Invest in your kit, invest in yourself, invest in this whole job, because if you don't, you're gonna see it. You're gonna be stressed out because you don't have that, because you didn't invest in it. So don't think of it as a loss, because you're just bettering your skills and you're bettering yourself. So invest in your kit. If you really want to take this serious, then take it serious. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram to see like before and afters of my clients. I definitely want to get more like hands-on videos doing someone's makeup here on YouTube, because I feel like that's kind of lacking in the YouTube world. Don't worry, I will get to it. I'm gonna get to it. So hopefully you found this helpful, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.